The stock market rally is here with the S&P 500 leading the markets back up into that all-time highs. Welcome back to another weekly outlook where we go over exactly what we're looking for coming into next week. We have major earnings, we have multiple red folder news events, and there's a lot of things to go over. And I'm also going to talk about my 5 top watches coming into next week. So make sure to stick to the end of the video. Before we do that, let's hop straight into my trading statistics for this month so far. This is the account that I share with you guys. This is my day trading account, currently up $46,000 for the month, 85% trade win percentage, profit factor 15, day win percentage 100% with an average win to loss ratio of 2.61. Right now, of course, my stats are very well. This is one of my best starts to a month so far. Primarily because of last week's price action, I've been trading very well. So I'm not expecting to keep this up for the rest of the month. But so far for the first 2 weeks, it's been fairly fantastic. Some of my major trades that have helped me achieve these statistics so far is the NVIDIA trade that we had on Friday. That was a textbook trade towards the upside above our previous day highs. As you can see, ended off the week with $35,000. With that being said, let's hop straight into exactly what we're looking for coming into next week, starting off with the economic calendar. Kicking things off right on Tuesday, we have major core CPI news. We have the month over month, year over year. And then, of course, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do have Fed Chair Warsh testifying at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Wednesday, we have the core PPI. Plus, we have Fed Chair testifying once again. And then on Thursday, we have the core retail sales, we have the unemployment claims, and then on Friday, we have the prelim consumer sentiment, which is going to be fairly important here as well. So with that being said, we have a bunch of red folder news events coming into this week. If we go on to this earnings calendar here as well, as I mentioned, we're starting off with financials. So that's what's going to kick off the earnings season. We have a bunch of big banks reporting. This is going to be on Tuesday before open. Other things to keep in mind, AEHR, that's going to be Tuesday after close. We have ASML on Wednesday. We have a couple airlines to keep an eye out for here as well. On Thursday, UNH before market opens, TSM on Thursday. Netflix is going to be reporting after close on Thursday. So as you can see, there's a bunch of major tech names to keep an eye out for, and of course financials as well coming into this week. With that being said, let's hop straight into exactly what we're looking for coming to this week with the full market update, and then we're going to head on to some of my main watches coming into today here as well. So starting off with the SPY and Qs, if you're looking at this, SPY is leading the markets higher. Let's talk about this more so on the weekly time frame, and we can also put the EMAs down here as well. So for this SPY, if we're looking at this on a week by week basis, number one, market structure is still very much intact. We're above our previous all-time highs. In the past month or so, we have been consolidating inside of a tight range. Now for the SPY, we do want to see that push back up in towards our all-time highs here, of course. If we're on the daily time frame, the key levels that we have marked out is our 730. The next levels that we have marked out here now as well, once we're breaking above this downtrend, is going to be that all-time highs. In this case, it's going to be that 760 and above here on the SPY. So coming into next week, the SPY is leading the markets back up in towards that all-time highs. We can expect a push up into that level, and of course continuation here as well. So we'll keep an eye out on SPY. We're reclaiming back above that 9 and 21, breaking out of this downtrend. Let's see that push up in towards that all-time highs here on this one. If we go on to the QQQ, you can see the Qs has been ranging a lot more. This one has been a little bit weaker, and it has been lagging behind the SPY, which that one is of course pushing up into that all-time highs. So for the Qs, we would like to see some buyers step in. If the SPY is going to push higher, the Qs is going to push higher here as well. But of course, as I mentioned, this one is lagging behind just a little bit. So for the Qs, I'd like to see it build up higher lows, break outside of this range that we have above our 730 for that pushback up in towards that all-time highs here as well. If we're looking at the SMH, this one is a little bit weaker. Some of the semis pulled back last week. We also had the SK Hynix IPO as well on Friday, which was a pretty big major news event. But if we're looking at the SMH on the weekly time frame scale, you can see that the SMH is of course bullish on the weekly time frame. We're just bouncing right off that 9 EMA here on the weekly. We would like to see consolidation and a pushback up in towards our all-time highs. For on the daily chart here on SMH, the key levels that we have marked out is our 580. This is the area that we bounced from earlier. We're reclaiming or trying to reclaim back above the 9 and 21 here as well after filling that daily gap. Let's see if we can build a higher low off our 580 and push back towards the upside. What we don't want to create here is more so this head and shoulders. You want to invalidate this head and shoulders and push back up in towards our all-time highs on the SMH. So this is what we have for the SMH and a lot of the major indices coming into this week. As I mentioned, I am looking, of course, for that continuation towards the upside here on the overall markets with the SPY and more so in specific leading the markets back towards the upside. If we talk about some tech names that we have, Tesla, more so ranging, not too much to talk about on this one. We'd like to see it really above our 450 if we want to see continuation. Right now, we're just kind of ranging in between this 450 along with this 380. If we want to see some upside above our 450 would be the best case scenario for, of course, continuation towards the highs. If we're looking at this on the daily time frame, we are, of course, more so consolidating inside of this range. Now we're forming this kind of inverse head and shoulders here. If I was to mark this out for that continuation back towards the upside. Let's talk about AMD. AMD is one of my favorite tickers for, of course, continuation. If we take a look at this on the weekly time frame, we are very much intact. We're bullish as well. We're above the 9 EMAs. If we go into the daily chart, the key levels that we have marked out in this case is this range that we have marked out, our 500 along with our 560. If we can break back above that 560, we can see that push back up in towards our all-time highs. So we'll keep an eye out on AMD, of course. We're above the 9, we're above the 21. Let's see if we can have continuation on this name. Nvidia looks solid here as well. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, we are just coming back for that previous retest. Very key technical level. Nice buyers are stepping in here off our 190. And now you can see pretty big buyers that stepped in on this weekly time frame. Daily time frame looks fairly bullish here as well. Broke outside of this range. Use this level as a retest, and now we're continuing back towards the upside here on Nvidia. So this is what we have coming into this name. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. As for Apple, really solid retest on the weekly time frame. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago. Perfect retest right off our previous level of resistance, turn into support, and now you can see we have that push back up in towards that all-time highs. If you go on to the daily time frame, the key levels that we have marked out is that 315. Above that 315, now we can see that continuation towards the upside. As for a few other names that we have, Google in a very key technical spot here as well. What I like to see here for Google is this be used as a retest for a continuation higher. Right now, currently, you can see we put in a little bit of an upper wick, but the market structure on the weekly time frame is intact. We want to see that break above our previous week's highs for continuation back towards the upside. Microsoft here is currently bouncing off the lows that we have, which is our key level of support. So right now you can see nice buyers are stepping in off this 350. What I like to see for Microsoft is this continuation back towards the upside. If you look at this on the daily, the key levels that we have marked out on the daily is just going to be that 350. I like to see higher lows be built off our 350 and continuation back up in towards our 400 and above. So that's what we have for Microsoft. As for Meta, we had some news last week that pushed this towards the upside. Really solid push on Thursday, and on Friday we had a gap up as well, filling this daily gap all the way back up in towards 660. As for Meta here now, if we look at this on the weekly time frame, we have been more so consolidating, but now for Meta, what I like to see here on Meta is the break above this 680 for continuation towards the upside. Amazon, this one consolidating a little bit more on the daily chart, looks pretty solid, building up higher lows, trying to reclaim back above the 9 and 21 here as well. For Amazon, the break back above that 250, we can see continuation back towards the upside. Netflix, of course, is a lot weaker for looking at this one on a weekly time frame perspective. SpaceX is finally starting to show a little bit more weakness after that initial IPO hype. This one is back down into that 150. Next levels towards the downside is going to be the pre-IPO price, which is 135. If it does want to move down there as well. As you can see currently, some of the memory names are a little bit weaker with, of course, the SK Hynix IPO. And of course, we had the earnings as well on MU that initially was bullish, but as you can see, are now dropping back towards the downside. As for MU, this one is very much bullish towards the upside. Still on the weekly time frame, we're just having a little bit of a pullback down in towards that 9 EMA. What I like to see is a little bit more consolidation on MU and a push back up in towards that all-time highs here. If we're looking at this on a daily time frame, key levels that we have marked out, just mark out this 850. As long as you can maintain above that 850, continuation towards the upside. SNDK key levels that we have marked out is that 1150, sorry, that 1500. This one, nice buyers are stepping in here so far. INTC, this one is pulling back. We got back underneath our EMAs here as well. This one's a little bit weaker, still building up a higher low, but we want to see the reclaim back above that 120 for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the main watches coming into this week that we have. Starting off with Nvidia. This is one of my favorite names. This one has been lagging behind, but bouncing off the weekly key levels that we have, which is our 190. Buyers are stepping in aggressively. Keep an eye out for Nvidia continuation coming into next week. This one's starting to show a lot more momentum. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that key levels that we have is going to be 210. Above our 210, we can see 220 coming to next week here on Nvidia. Next ticker that I have is DRAM, which is the memory ETF. This one is pulling back down in towards key technical levels. We're underneath the EMA so far, but if we're looking at this on the weekly time frame perspective, basing above the 9 EMA here on the weekly. On the daily, we're building up higher lows here. Very similar to its last time, where we ended up getting underneath or right at our 9 and 21. Break back above our 65 for a continuation back up in towards that daily gap that we have on this name. Palantir is another name that I have. This one showed a lot of strength the last week. Key levels that we have marked out, of course, is this 125. What I like to see is now this previous level of support turn back into support, and we see that flip on the higher time frames for a push back up and towards that 140 and above. So keep an eye out on Palantir for continuation back towards the upside. Of course, if we break back underneath, that's going to invalidate this thesis, and we can see a move back down and towards the lows. Robinhood is another name that I do like here, building up higher lows on the daily time frame as well. We're using this previous level of resistance turned into support. For Hood, I like to see the hold above that level for, of course, continuation back towards the upside. There's also a couple other things to keep in mind. TSM has earnings this week as well. And of course, we'll keep an eye on a memory bounce coming into this week. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Peace.